Welcome to this lecture on algorithm analysis, a foundational topic in computer science and data structures. Over the next slides, we will explore what algorithms are, how we classify them, and most importantly, how we measure their efficiency in a rigorous platform-independent way. We will cover everything from the basic definition of an algorithm, through its properties and structure, all the way to formal complexity analysis and big O notation. Let's begin. An algorithm is a well-defined computational procedure that takes one or more values as input and produces one or more values as output. Think of it as a precise recipe. Every step is clearly specified, and following those steps correctly always leads to the correct result. In programming, data structures model the static part of the world. They store information that doesn't change on its own. Algorithms, on the other hand, model the dynamic part. They transform data structures from one state to another. An algorithm may change the value held inside a data structure, or it may restructure the data itself. The quality of an algorithm and the quality of its associated data structures are deeply intertwined. Good data structures lead to simple, efficient algorithms, and well-designed algorithms lead to accurate and efficient data management. Every algorithm follows a predictable 5-part structure. The first is the input step. The algorithm receives one or more values that it will process. Second is the assignment step, where computed values are stored into variables for later use. Third is the decision step. This is where conditional logic lives, the if-else choices that control what happens based on the current state. Fourth is the repetitive step. Loops or recursive calls that repeat a set of operations until a condition is met. And finally, the output step, where the algorithm produces its result, one or more values that represent the answer. Every algorithm you will ever write or analyze can be broken down into some combination of these 5 fundamental components. For a procedure to qualify as an algorithm, it must satisfy 10 essential properties. Finiteness. It must terminate after a finite number of steps. It cannot run forever. Definiteness. Each step must have one and only one interpretation. There must be no ambiguity. Sequence. Steps must follow a logical order with a clearly defined start and a clearly defined halt. Feasibility. Every instruction must be something that can actually be carried out. Correctness. It must produce the right answer for all valid inputs, not just some of them. Language independence. A true algorithm can be expressed in any programming language. It is not tied to one syntax. Completeness. It must fully solve the problem, not just part of it. Effectiveness. Each step must be executable in a finite amount of time. Efficiency. It should accomplish its goal using the least possible computational resources. And finally, generality. The algorithm must work across all valid inputs, not just specific cases. If any of these properties is missing, what you have is not truly an algorithm. Algorithm analysis is the process of predicting how much of a given resource an algorithm will consume for a given input. We analyze algorithms so we can choose the best one for the problem at hand using a scientific repeatable method. There are 3 primary resources we consider. Running time, how long the algorithm takes to execute. Memory usage, how much RAM or storage space it requires. And communication bandwidth, relevant in distributed or networked systems. Of these 3, running time is almost always the most important, because computational time is the most precious and often the most constrained resource in real-world applications. Throughout this course, time complexity will be our primary focus. Because of this variability, clock time alone is not a reliable, consistent measure of algorithmic efficiency. This is why we prefer the analytical approach for formal analysis. We formalize algorithmic performance using 2 complexity functions. Time complexity, written T of n, is a function that describes the running time of an algorithm. Specifically, how much computer time is needed to run to completion as the input size n grows. Space complexity, written S of n, is a function that describes the memory or storage space required by an algorithm to complete its execution. Both are expressed as functions of n, the size of the input. When we say the time complexity of this algorithm is T of n equals 4n plus 6, we mean for an input of size n, the algorithm performs approximately 4n plus 6 basic operations. From this we derive the big O class, which tells us the growth rate of the algorithm. Complexity analysis proceeds in two distinct phases. In phase 1, algorithm analysis, we examine the algorithm or data structure and produce a function T of n that counts the operations performed. We ask for each line of code, how many times does it execute? What does the total count look like as a function of the input size? In phase 2, order of magnitude analysis, we take the function T of n and determine which general complexity category it falls into. We simplify it by dropping constants and lower order terms, arriving at a big O expression. This is the phase where 4n plus 6 becomes simply O of n, and where we can compare algorithms fairly, regardless of the specific hardware they run on. The goal of both phases is to give us a meaningful, platform-independent characterization of the algorithm's efficiency. There are two primary reasons we analyze algorithms' accuracy. First, to predict resource requirements. Before deploying a solution, we want to know how much CPU time will this consume, how much memory will it require, how much network bandwidth will it use. Algorithm analysis answers these questions mathematically, without requiring us to build and run the full system. Second, to predict running time. By counting the total number of primitive operations the algorithm executes, we can predict how it will scale as inputs grow. This allows us to compare competing solutions objectively and determine whether an algorithm is feasible for the intended scale of the problem. Without analysis, algorithm selection becomes guesswork. When counting operations, we follow 5 standard rules. Rule 1. We assume an arbitrary but consistent time unit. We do not use real clock time. Rule 2. Each basic operation costs exactly 1 unit. This includes a single assignment, a single input or output operation, a single Boolean operation, a single arithmetic operation, and a function return statement. Rule 3. For selection statements, if and switch, the cost is the time to evaluate the condition plus the maximum of the running times of the individual clauses. Rule 4. For loops, the running time equals the running time of the body multiplied by the number of iterations. For nested loops, we multiply the sizes of all loops together and always analyze from the inside out. We always assume the loop runs its maximum number of iterations. Rule 5. A function call costs 1 unit for setup, plus the time for any parameter calculations, plus the time required to execute the function body. Let's walk through a concrete example. Consider the count function. It initializes k to 0, that's 1 unit. It outputs a prompt, 1 unit. It reads n from input, 1 unit. The for loop contributes 1 assignment for initialization, n plus 1 comparisons for the test, and n increments. A total of 2 n plus 2 units. The loop body, which runs n times and contains 1 assignment and 1 addition, costs 2n units, and the return statement costs 1 unit. Adding it all together, T of n equals 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2n plus 1, which simplifies to 4n plus 6. Now we apply order of magnitude analysis. We drop the constant 6 and the coefficient 4 because they become insignificant as n grows large. The result is O of n, linear time complexity. As the input doubles, the running time approximately doubles. Let's look at 2 more examples. The total function has 1 assignment for sum equals 0, followed by a for loop with the standard 2n plus 2 overhead, and a loop body with 2 operations, assignment and addition, running n times plus a return. This yields T of n equals 4n plus 4, which is again O of n. The sum function is slightly more expensive per iteration. Its loop body contains 1 assignment, 1 addition, and 2 multiplications, 4 operations, running n times. So T of n equals 1 plus 2n plus 2 plus 4n plus 1, which equals 6n plus 4. Still O of n, but with a larger constant. Notice that both are linear. The constant multiplier matters in practice, but not for big O classification. 2 algorithms that are both O of n may perform very differently in real time depending on their constants. This example features while loops instead of for loops. The function begins with 3 assignment statements, 1 each for x, I, and j, costing 3 units. It then performs 1 output and 1 input operation, costing 2 more. The first while loop executes n plus 1 condition tests and n iterations of 2 operations each, contributing 3 n plus 1 units. The second while loop executes n condition tests and n minus 1 increment operations, contributing Tn minus 1 units. Summing everything, T of n equals 3 plus 2 plus n plus 1 plus 2n plus n minus 1, which simplifies to 5n plus 5. This is O of n, linear, even with multiple loops in sequence. If they are not nested, the complexity remains linear because we add, not multiply, their contributions. The formal approach simplifies analysis by abstracting away bookkeeping details. For a single for loop, the running time translates directly to a summation. The number of operations is equal to the number of iterations. Count 1, addition per iteration, and you get n total for a loop of n. For nested loops, each loop adds another summation. The total count equals the product of the sizes of all loops. Always analyze from the innermost loop outward. For consecutive statements, simply add the running times of each block. This is why a loop followed by another loop gives O of n plus O of n, which is still O of n. For conditionals, we take the running time of the condition, evaluation, plus the maximum of the running times of all possible branches. Worst case analysis means we always use the maximum. Big O notation expresses the upper bound on the growth rate of an algorithm's time or space complexity as a function of input size n. It answers the question, as n grows very large, how does the resource requirement grow? The 6 most important complexity classes are, from best to worst, O of 1. Constant time, independent of input size, like looking up an element by index. O of log n. Logarithmic, like binary search, grows very slowly. O of n, linear, like a single loop, doubles when input doubles. O of n, log n. Log, linear, like merge sort, slightly worse than linear. O of n squared, quadratic, like bubble sort, grows dramatically as input grows. And O of 2 to the n, exponential, like brute force subset enumeration, becomes completely infeasible for even moderate input sizes. Choosing the right complexity class is not a theoretical exercise. It determines whether your solution is practically viable. This slide visualizes the complexity hierarchy as a bar chart, making the differences concrete and intuitive. O of 1 is essentially a single point, no growth at all. O of log n grows, but very slowly. O of n grows proportionally with input. O of n log n is slightly worse. O of n squared grows dramatically. At just n equals 10,000, you already have 100 million operations, and O of 2 to the n is practically vertical. It becomes computationally impossible for even modest inputs. The takeaway is clear. Moving up the complexity hierarchy even by one level can mean the difference between a solution that runs in milliseconds and one that runs for centuries. Algorithm. Design is fundamentally about staying as low in this hierarchy as possible. Let's make this concrete with a real calculation. Suppose we have hardware capable of executing 1 million instructions per second. We want to run an algorithm whose time complexity is t of n equals 2n squared on an input of size n equals 10 to the power of 8. Step 1. Compute the total operations. T of 10 to the 8 equals 2 times 10 to the 8 squared, which equals 2 times 10 to the 16 operations. Step 2. Divide by our processor speed. 2 times 10 to the 16 divided by 10 to the 6 equals 2 times 10 to the 10 seconds. Step 3. Convert to days. Dividing by 86,400 seconds per day gives approximately 231,080 days. That is roughly 634 years. This is not a trick question. This is what quadratic complexity looks like at scale. Choosing the right algorithm is not optional. At large inputs, it determines whether a solution is physically possible at all. This table gives you a direct, numerical sense of how dramatically different complexity classes behave at various input sizes, assuming 1 million operations per second. At n equals 10, all algorithms look fast. The differences are negligible. At n equals 1000, O of n squared is already 10,000 operations, while O of n is still just 100. At n equals 1000, O of n squared reaches 1 million, a full second of computation, while O of n is still just 1 millisecond. And for exponential O of 2 to the n, the numbers become astronomically large, numbers with hundreds or thousands of digits, long before n reaches 1000. This table is why algorithm analysis matters in practice, not just theory. For small inputs, algorithm choice rarely matters. For large inputs, it determines everything. Let's consolidate the 6 most important lessons from this presentation. First, an algorithm is a finite, deterministic process. It always terminates. Every step is unambiguous, and it produces correct output for all valid inputs. Second, analysis guides your algorithm choice. Without it, selection is guesswork. Third, time complexity is the primary performance measure. It tells us how an algorithm scales, independent of hardware. Fourth, derive T of n analytically, then classify it into a big O category for platform-independent comparison. Fifth, loops dominate complexity. Nested loops multiply, not add, complexity levels, so always analyze from the inside out. And sixth, scale matters enormously. What looks fast at n equals 10 may be completely infeasible at n equals 10 to the 8. Algorithm selection is a critical engineering decision.